Good morning and welcome to the Hawaii State Senate Committee on Commerce and Consumer Protection. We have 5 agendas this morning. The first is our Wednesday, February 14th, 2024, 9:30 a.m. agenda. We are here in room 229. We will be hearing testimony on all of the measures on this 9:30 a.m. agenda, but I would ask for a little latitude from those of you who have come in to participate. We have 4 other agendas that we need to vote on before our deadline tomorrow. So I will likely be recessing on those agendas as soon as we have quorum on this current 9:30 a.m. hearing as we start to get quorum, so we can just grab people and vote out measures. Our normal protocol is to request that participants limit their testimony to 2 minutes. If you have submitted written testimony, I've reviewed it all already, and we really encourage you not to, especially if you're on Zoom, I really would ask that you not read your testimony word for word. We've already reviewed it. If you'd like to take some of the 2 minutes to clarify or emphasize any of your testimony, please feel free to do so. And if you're a regular in my committee, I would highly encourage you to stand on your testimony so that we can keep this moving. There will likely be questions on some of these measures, so if you'd like to make yourself available, that's totally fair and appropriate. If we need to reconvene due to some unforeseen technical issue, we will do that tomorrow morning, Thursday, the 15th of February, 2024 at 9:15 a.m. in this room 229, and that'll be the last chance before the deadline to get these bills passed out and keep them moving. If you're on Zoom, please stand by. Whoever submitted their testimony first, we call you, whether you're in the cloud or here in the room. And that's it. So the first measure is SB 2020 relating to deceptive trade practices. This measure makes it a deceptive practice to advertise, display, or offer a price for goods or services that does not include all the mandatory fees or charges with certain exceptions. DCCA Office of Consumer Protection in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Mana Moriarty, Office of Consumer Protection, Executive Director. Strong support for this bill, and I think committee staff has just handed you a copy of a letter that Attorney General Ann Lopez and I signed last week, expressing strong support at the federal level for a rule on hidden fees and misrepresentation of fees. We'd appreciate if you'd consider adding that to the record before this committee. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next, we have Charter Communications offering comments. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Charter stands on our written comments, and we're available for questions. Mahalo.
Thank you very much. That's all the live testimony that we have registered for this measure. Is there anyone else online or in the room who would like to testify? Okay, I'd like to note that we also have testimony, written testimony submitted in opposition from the Hawaii Restaurant Association, American Economic Liberties Project in support, comments from the Chamber of Progress, and opposition testimony from Richard Ekimoto, and late opposition testimony from CTIA. Is there anyone else that I missed? Okay, members, any questions? Vice Chair.
For DCCA, I noted in the testimony provided that most of the focus appears to be on hotel and telecommunications related charges, and the Restaurant Association had submitted testimony opposing this measure as it applied to restaurants. Is there an area that needs review at the restaurant level?
Certainly, I think you're aware that there, in the public discourse, there's often a question about, can surcharges be added on to my restaurant tab? And we've been asked that question many times. While there is no existing specific law on this, this measure, which mirrors the measure in some respects that became law in California last year, would apply to restaurants. So they would have to disclose upfront any surcharges or fees that they are going to add on to the consumer's bill.
Okay, well, I know that restaurants are usually the ones that have the hardest time with labor shortages as well as other cost increases. So I think it's going to be a tough one for them. Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, I have a question, Mr. Moriarty. Charter, I'm not sure if you're able to view it. Charter submitted testimony requesting an amendment that provided an exception for broadband, let me see. I guess for broadband providers because the California law also granted those exceptions due to the FCC's rules and other federal rules. And I'm wondering if that has been contemplated, even if you haven't seen the specific testimony.
I think in general, there are going to be folks coming in with requests for exemptions and carve-outs. This particular request I haven't reviewed. If there is a legitimate preemption of federal law here, which preempts the field in state advertising laws, we'd be open to talking to them about an appropriate amendment to take that into account.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I guess we'll ask Charter. Yeah. I don't recall you implying in your testimony that there is a direct preemption issue.
So the California statute exempted internet service providers because we're complying with an FCC rule that was passed in 2022. So basically, the thought process in California was that we're complying with this rule. Therefore, we're already displaying significant amount of information about the services we provide. I can get you an example of the nutrition style label that in California, it was accepted that this was basically in compliance with the law. So, if you're in compliance with the federal law, you're also in compliance with the state law. That was the California exemption, yeah.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll move to the next measure, SB 2103, relating to agriculture. This measure expands the criminal offense of false labeling of Hawaii-grown coffee to include roasted coffee and imposes a $10,000 fine for each separate offense of false labeling of Hawaii-grown roasted coffee. First, we have the Hawaii Department of Agriculture and Support.
Good morning, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. I'm Richard Cohen from Measurement Standards Branch, Department of Agriculture. We'll stand on our written testimony in support of the measure.
Thank you for standing on.
For questions.
Thank you for standing on your testimony. Hawaii Coffee Association online, Mr. Manfredi in support.
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'm Chris Manfredi, testifying on behalf of the Hawaii Coffee Association. We stand on our written testimony in support of this measure. I just want to underscore an example that we hear very frequently. Imagine your cost of production for your coffee is $25 a pound, which is a real number. That doesn't really include marketing costs. But then you have a fake product on the shelf that sells for $14 a pound or $20 a pound. It's below your cost of production. It really undermines Hawaii's brands, our integrity, and hurts our farmers. We ask you to pass this measure. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. We also have written testimony submitted from Hawaii Coffee Company with comments, the Hawaii Farm Bureau in support, and Ben Robinson in support. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Please. Good morning.
Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. Angela Melody Young testifying, wishing to comment. So this measure is relating to falsely labeled coffee. And so from Act 328, it provided stronger criminal penalties to help deter the distribution of Hawaii-grown coffee that was falsely labeled as to the geographic region where it was grown, right? And we can see that this is a really big deal because if a coffee is labeled falsely, then that is deceptive, okay? And we can see kind of the national effect of this from this example. So the National Consumers League filed a lawsuit against Starbucks, saying the corporation engages in false advertising by claiming to be committed to ethical sourcing when it still relies on farms that face accusations of human rights and labor abuses. And this was filed in the DC Superior Court, and it seeks to block Starbucks from engaging in the alleged practice of misleading the public and seeks unspecified damages. So Starbucks had a little sticker that said it was ethically sourced, the coffee, when it wasn't, okay? So we should be more aware about these things, especially with ethically sourced or where the geographic origin of it is from. And ethically sourced means it's ethically sourced in conformance with the international human rights norms and standards, right? So if something is from a geographic origin, then it should be from the geographic origin. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Members, questions? All right, we'll move to the next measure, SB 2109, relating to unlawful shipment of tobacco products. This measure exempts from the offense of unlawful shipment of tobacco products shipments of large cigars and pipe tobacco sold to a consumer in the state through the internet under certain circumstances. Department of Health in opposition.
Good morning, Chair Keokalole and Vice Chair Fukunaga and Member Richard. I'm Lola Urban, representing Director Kenny Fink for the Department of Health, and the department opposes SB 2109. We are responsible to assure that people have really healthy outcomes and then to assure that we advance health equity. And a large premium cigar is equivalent to about a pack of cigarettes and contains the same kind of carcinogenic effect. In fact, it's linked directly to oral esophageal and cancers, and head and neck and esophageal cancers risk increases when premium cigars are combined with alcohol, which it often is. There's also increasing association with pancreatic cancer. And the FDA, in a 29 study, calculated that about 200,000 cardiovascular conditions and cancer cases were attributable to former exclusive cigar smokers aged 35 years and older. So we do know that cigars are the third popular tobacco product for middle and high school students. So on that ground, we do ask that HRS 245 that was amended last year and to include all tobacco products in the tax regulatory structure remain as it is unamended. So thank you for the opportunity to provide testimony.
Thank you. American Cancer Society in opposition. Good morning.
Good morning, chairs, vice chair, and committee members. Cynthia Al on behalf of the American Cancer Society Cancer Action Network. We respectfully oppose SB 2109. In an estimated of 500,000 US students currently use cigars in 2022, making cigars the second most popular tobacco product for youth. And they also come in a variety of flavors, which make them popular to be used as a consumption. Shipments directly to consumers should be prohibited and only allowed to in-state brick and mortar licensed retailers where consumers' identifications and IDs can be checked so that they can verify that they're 21 and over when purchasing, because if they're being purchased online, there is no verification. So thank you so much. I'm available for any questions.
Thank you very much. Hawaii Public Health Institute in opposition.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Peggy Mearswell with Hawaii Public Health Institute. We stand in opposition of SB 2109. Cigars are tobacco products and should be treated as such, and creating exemptions undercuts our strong tobacco protection laws in the state. By easing the ability to access, people will migrate to the tobacco product easiest to obtain. We prioritize public health and reducing the health and economic burdens of tobacco-related causes in our state. So thank you for letting me testify this morning.
Thank you very much. Cigar Association of America in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, committee member. William Goon on behalf of the Cigar Association of America, which stands on its written testimony in strong support of the bill. We did submit a proposed amendment with regard to the collection of taxes, which we feel is necessary to be implemented, worked out and implemented in order for the bill to work. So we stand on our written testimony, again, in support. Thank you for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you very much. Retail Merchants of Hawaii, Ms. Yamaki, in support.
Aloha, thank you. I'm Tina Yamaki with Retail Merchants of Hawaii, and we stand in support and honor testimony. But I do want to point out that legitimate businesses that sell these type of tobacco products have many safeguards to deter minors from purchasing online. It's not as easy as just going online, ordering, putting in your credit card. Thank you.
Thank you very much. That's all the live testimony we have registered. Is there anyone else who would like to testify?
Aloha, Chair, Vice Chair, and the committee. Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES. And so tobacco products may be manufactured to look like conventional combusted cigarettes, cigars, or pipes. And this is something that children care about from the Keiki Caucus and the Hawaii Children and Youth. They don't like smoking. The Keiki Caucus proposes, drafts, and supports and implements policies to improve the lives of Hawaii's keikis. And in October 2022, the Keiki Caucus held its annual Hawaii Children and Youth Summit to bring children together across the state to help prioritize issues and find strategies to solutions which require statutory changes to be implemented at the county, state, and federal level. And the Keiki Caucus declared addressing smoking electronic devices as one of its biggest priorities for the legislative season of 2023. And during the process of debating priorities, the Hawaii Children and Youth Summit, the students stated that the focus should be to create middle school and high school programs with peer-to-peer support, therapy, and counseling to emphasize the consequences of smoking while increasing awareness about health education. So if this is something that is attractive to the children, then you don't want to make it as available to the kids because it's something that they don't want to deal with at schools. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Okay, I'd like to note in total there were 16 pieces of testimony in support, 8 in opposition. Members, any questions? Okay, I have a question for Department of Health.
Yes, Chair.
So the purpose of this measure was to allow grown adults. I mean, the bill is specifically written for uncles on the golf course who order cigars online and felt like they were not taken into consideration in the measure last year. But it seems like from your testimony, from a public health standpoint, the department's position is that prohibition is the best course for any type of substance that might cause long-term public health harm.
Thank you, Chair, for that question. That is an interesting way to put it.
If this was 1932 and we were considering a measure to end prohibition, the Department of Health would be in opposition.
We are not speaking about prohibition. We're talking about just equity in terms of then the availability of these products and knowing that actually for middle school and high school students, they are getting access to these products. So we are just looking at the availability of these products. And I think the American Cancer Society testimony spoke to that in terms of assuring that in a brick and mortar situation that there would be then the ability to have age verification. So it would not be that these products are not available, but that it would be in a face-to-face transaction.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
If there are no other questions, we'll move on. SB 2127 relating to residential landlord tenant code. This measure prohibits a landlord or the landlord's agent from charging an application fee for a criminal background check or credit report if an applicant provides a certified copy of a criminal background check or credit report. DCCA, Office of Consumer Protection, in support.
Good morning. Support for this bill with some offered amendments to remove DCCA from an administrative role and to insert a provision regarding reusable tenant screening reports. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hawaii Workers Center in support.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair. My name is Sergio Alcobili. I'm the Executive Director of the Hawaii Workers Center. We support this measure for two reasons. The one, just recently we had helped members of our COFA Workers Association with the landlord-tenant issue, and rather than fixing the problem, they ended up getting evicted. So the hard part for them was trying to find housing, and for a multi-generational family with multiple adults, it was a challenge. But every time they would submit an application, applications are probably about $35 to $40 a piece. You multiply that by 4 or 5, and you're easily running about, sorry, my math is not the greatest this morning, but close to $200 every time they apply for housing, and a lot of times they get denied, right? So that's just been a big cost. And the other issue, of course, is on Maui. We heard from our organizers on the ground who was directly impacted that they would submit applications for some of these rentals and just never hear back. They would pay the fee and they would just never hear back from some of these landlords. So those are kind of the two primary reasons why we would support this measure. We believe this really helps level the playing field for a lot of our working families. I liken it to college applications. If you're on limited income, there's only so many college applications you can apply for, but this would help level the playing field. Thank you again, Chair and Vice Chair and members of this committee for allowing me to testify.
Thank you very much. That appears to be all of the testimony from individuals who indicated they would be present. Is there anyone else who would like to testify?
Thank you. Hawaiian Realtors, we stand in opposition to this measure.
Thank you. I'd also like to note we have testimony in support from the Maui Chamber of Commerce and Jacqueline Ambrose. Members, any questions? Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to SB 2454. Relating to mail, this measure prohibits certain entities from distributing unsolicited mail that is unreasonably likely to cause the recipient to believe that a governmental agency has approved of the distribution. The only testifier is the DCCA, Office of Consumer Protection.
Thank you, Chair. Comments and concerns about the measure. We believe it's well-intended, but it duplicates efforts that are going on at the Federal Trade Commission, and we don't think it's a necessary measure at this time.
Thank you. Any questions for Mr. Moriarty? Okay, if there are none, then we'll move on to SB 2606 relating to construction. This measure establishes additional requirements for notices of claims of construction defects. Contractors License Board with comments. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Keoho Kalole. This is Candice Ito for Neil Arita on the Contractors License Board. We stand on our written testimony with comments. Our concerns are for single-family homeowners who will not be part of a class action suit and have to meet the more high requirements that this bill is proposing.
I'm going to finish testimony and we'll just go. Okay. Thank you very much, Pacific Resource Partnership, Mr. Delaney in support. Dennis Lombardi in support. DR Horton, Hawaii, Ms. Tanaki in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. I thank you. My name is Tracy Tonaki. I'm president of DR Horton, Hawaii. I submitted written testimony and I stand on that. I do want to just emphasize today that overly broad litigation claims has directly now affected housing and home ownership in Hawaii. Overly broad litigation claims have not only encumbered homes that have completed and are closed and occupied, but they're now encumbering homes that are under construction, as well as housing projects that are coming online, ready to get started out of the ground. 810 units have been halted because of overly broad construction litigation. And more egregious, these litigation claims have prevented first-time homebuyers from obtaining FHA, VA, Fannie and Freddie Mac loans because the government agencies have opted out of lending on condo projects that are under litigation. D.R. Horton stands behind our homes. We stand with our homeowners, and we're advocating for our home buyers now. I appreciate your time. I hope the CRA can be amended to do exactly what's intended to do. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Holomua Collaborative in support. Hawaii Credit Union League in support. Thank you for standing on your testimony. Lipsmith LLP in opposition. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and committee members. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. We stand on our written comments, but I also just want to add a few more comments just to supplement the record. Every year, Hawaii homes are at risk to massive damage because of Hawaii's vulnerability to winds, hurricanes, and flooding. Like Hurricane Iniki and the Maui wildfires, these are not hypothetical risks that homeowners face. Cheap building products cannot withstand Hawaii's tropical environment, but builders use them every day. And some of the most important life safety components in homes are installed in places that homeowners cannot see, cannot access, and cannot understand. Lawyers in our firm have spent the last 15 years representing Hawaii homeowners in class actions, where our goal is to get repairs for rusting metal components that are structural, like these here at issue on the poster that I brought in with me, so you can see what some of these defects look like. These are real. We strongly oppose the contention that these are fabricated lawsuits or that these issues are not affecting people for real. These are real issues, real rust in real homes. We strongly support affordable housing, but affordable housing should also be safe housing. For most people, their homes are the single biggest investment that they ever have. They should be allowed to protect them when builders cut corners. We first oppose SB 2606 because the requirements that all class members give pre-litigation notice puts the cart before the horse. Without getting too deep into the legal doctrine, you cannot have a class action without litigation first. The Contractor Repair Act is supposed to be pre-litigation conduct. Second, requiring every single class member to submit to inspections will drag cases on for years and years. We have one case, for example, where there are thousands of homes at issue, and it took 2 years to get only 700 of those homes inspected. That dragged out this process, continuing to expose owners to the dangers that are existing in their homes. Finally, the homeowners cannot provide this sort of level of detail that the notice requires. They would have to pay for lawyers, experts, and consultants before they could even bring a claim.
Thank you very much.
And I'm available for comments.
Thank you very much. We're going to go into a recess right now so that we can open up on our later agendas and vote out some measures. So I'm going to recess, and I'm going to open up on our 9:45 a.m. joint agenda with our colleagues from the Economic Development Committee to vote on, well, I guess I'll turn it over to co-chair. We'll begin with SB 2082 on our 9:45 a.m. agenda.
Thank you, Chair. First up is Senate Bill 2082 relating to the labeling of products. While we've had a good discussion on this, I think it needs more work in figuring out how we move some of the department into HTA. So I'm gonna, my recommendation is to defer this indefinitely. Second up, Senate Bill 2964 relating to renewable energy. My recommendation is to pass as an SD1. On page 2, line 8, change third-party electric utility to third-party investor-owned electric utility. Same for page 3, line 1, change third-party electric public utility to third-party investor-owned electric utility, and defecting the date to January 1st, 2060. Committee members, any discussion? Seeing none, Vice Chair will call for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
CPN Committee, same recommendation, passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair also votes aye. Senator McKelvey?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Awa?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is a CPN lead. That's SB 2012 relating to online privacy for children. Noting the litigation concerns and the fact that there is one more measure that is scheduled for hearing on Friday. I'm going to recommend we defer this measure. The next measure is SB 2170. This is relating to combat sports. The recommendation is to remove all relevant sections of this measure and adopt the recommendations of the DCCA, which is to merge the combat sports program with the Boxing Commission. There are some technical, non-substantive amendments that need to be made along with the changes to that language, which also include essentially changing all mentions of boxing in the chapter to combat sports, and repealing all existing laws in the mixed martial arts chapter and just incorporating them into the boxing chapter, which include adding provisions relating to an executive officer of the commission, some timekeeper provisions, drug testing provisions, and injunctive relief around fines. We'll defect the effective date to July 1, 2040, and we'll insert the suggested appropriation from the general fund into the Combat Sports Commission Special Fund. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, are there any voting with reservations or objections?
No.
Thank you. No vote for Senator Awa. All others in the affirmative. Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much.
Same recommendation, Vice Chair Okai for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Let's get ready to rumble. Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela is excused. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 2505 relating to the Public Utilities Commission. This is adding a reliability standard. The recommendation is to pass this measure with amendments, adopting the consumer advocate amendments, which basically makes it permissive, but includes the language in the statute. We'll also defect the effective date of this measure to July 1, 2040. Any discussion?
Chair?
Yes.
So this still includes the reliability surcharge on it, yeah?
Sorry, let me. Yes.
Okay.
The recommendation is to keep in that language.
Okay, I'll probably have to go with reservations for now, though, given other talks that are going on with things.
So noted. We will maintain the surcharge provisions in the bill, but because we are changing the standard from a shall to a may, it essentially renders the surcharge optional. I'd like it, it is a wham.
Yeah, no, I
purview
appreciate
item,
you
so
putting that.
Your reservations are.
That gives me much comfort. It's not mandatory, but thank you for that.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, are any voting with reservations other than Senator McKelvey or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you.
Same recommendation, Vice Chair for the vote, Chair goes aye.
Noting the excused absence of Senator Favela, any opposition or reservations to the chair's recommendation? Having seen and heard none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. So the last measure on this agenda is SB 2993 relating to consumer protection. As noted earlier, there are some legal concerns around the measure, and there is a preferred measure by the DCCA, SB 2020, which is also moving. So the recommendation is to defer this measure in favor of the other vehicle. And on that note, we'll adjourn that 9:45 a.m. agenda, and we'll move into the 9:46 a.m. agenda, which is decision-making agenda related to SB 3234, which is the insurance stabilization measure. If you'll permit me, I'm going to run down the majority of the amendments that I'm going to propose, which is proposing to pass with amendments, are related to the dialogue and the testimony between the Hawaii Insurers Council and the DCCA Insurance Commissioner. So we appreciate the work of those two parties to come to agreements. So the recommendations are as follows. We will reinstate the post-catastrophe assessment to insurers for the Hawaii Hurricane Relief Fund. We will make amendments regarding a secondary assessment by the HHRF. This assessment occurs after a hurricane. The fund assesses insurers that acted as servicing facilities in the year prior to the hurricane. So we're going to reinstate language in the bill regarding the second assessment and how it is calculated. We'll also reinstate language that allows insurers to recoup the amounts they paid for the second assessment. And we will make an amendment regarding the third assessment in the HHRF, which reinstates the amount of the surcharge from 7.5% to 7.5%, which is the original amount, as opposed to 2, which was proposed in the bill. This surcharge is levied on premiums on policies if after a hurricane, the reserve fund has insufficient funds to pay claims and other obligations. There are also technical non-substantive amendments, and we will defect the effective date of this measure to July 1, 2040. Members, any discussion? Vice Chair.
Thank you. I also spoke with the Insurance Council representatives, and while I appreciate, the broader scope that does include other kinds of natural disasters, I continue to be concerned that those condo owners that are affected by skyrocketing premiums and other kinds of insurance availability issues are not fully addressed in this draft. And I look forward to continuing to work with the chair and insurance representatives to achieve some accommodation for those residential owners.
I appreciate those comments, and would also like to note that much of that element of this discussion does need to happen in coordination or collaboration with the counties, not necessarily limiting it to one county. Any other discussion?
So the,
Senator McKelvey.
sorry, my bad. 7.5% surcharge would be on insurance policies issued after a hurricane, right?
This would be the third assessment.
Okay.
So this would be after the second assessment is applied, if it's determined that the fund is still short.
Okay. My only concern about that is that some people may not be able to afford it, and they could become underinsured or not get insurance anymore. So maybe working forward with the measure, we can take another look at it. Thank you, though. We'll support it moving on.
Just for the record, that a lowering of that third post-cat assessment was proposed by the insurers, but the insurance commissioner felt that in the interest of prudence, that we should leave the option to restore the fund that way. There are also other revenue mechanisms proposed in the bill, including the mortgage recording fee, the conveyance tax, and the TAT. So I appreciate your concern, and it's something that we still need to work on as we go forward, because the math is not clear at this point.
Thank you for that.
Yeah. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes with reservations. Senator McKelvey?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Awa?
Aye.
Thank you. Measures adopted.
Thank you very much.
Same recommendation, Vice Chair, for the vote. Chair votes aye. Noting the excused absence of Senator Favela, any opposition or reservations to the chair's recommendation, we pass SB 3234 with amendments.
Reservations?
Reservations
Thank
for
you.
Fukunaga. Chair, your recommendation is adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much for that, and for our co-convening committee for joining us. While we are voting, I'm going to recommend that we recess this 9:46 a.m. agenda, and we will go into our 9:35 a.m. agenda to vote out that agenda before we proceed on with our continuing testimony. So the first measure is SB 2922. These are the HECO bills for all of the HECO people involved. We do have a significant number of amendments, not substantial, but significant enough that we provided handouts that we can make available for anyone in the room who is interested, and they've also been provided to the members. So on the first measure, SB 2922, this proposes to establish a catastrophic wildfire securitization act to allow public utilities to securitize rates in order to raise capital that can be used to pay for costs and expenses arising out of catastrophic wildfires. As noted in the hearing, the intention on this measure is to ensure that if we are going to proceed down this route, that there is fundamental change initiated by the utility, and that we empower the PUC to continue to have the tools to make that possible, and that their regulatory environment can move forward in a constructive way. So the recommendation is to amend the bill to add restrictions on financing orders by first clarifying that the PUC authorizes the recovery of costs and expenses and limiting the eligible categories of costs and expenses to those consistent with PUC-approved plans, a wildfire mitigation plan, and a liability settlement plan that limits ratepayer burden and is offset by shareholders. The second amendment is to require that when recovery bonds are issued, cost recovery through fixed recovery charges and associated taxes and bonds result in net savings to ratepayers. The third is requiring that the PUC provide and the PUC approve a reorganization plan. Specific elements of that plan need to satisfy the following conditions: that they include a restructuring of the public utility, that the plan provides for a system of enhanced local governance and accountability, which may include alternate models of public ownership, that the plan includes a framework for addressing wildfire safety and risk management, that the plan provides for periodic performance-based management audits of the public utility and reviews of the utility's franchise, and that the plan is consistent with meeting the public utility and the state's clean energy and climate mandates and obligations. And the last proposed amendment is to blank out the time period for PUC approval of the financing order. It was proposed to be 180 days. The PUC was requesting 90 days. I'm going to blank that out for now while everyone absorbs the recommended amendments. Any discussion? Oh, we'll also defect the effective date on this measure to July 1, 2040. Any discussion?
Chair?
Senator McKelvey.
Just want to thank you for all the hard work you've done on this bill. You've addressed a lot of the concerns that came out from my neck of the woods with the measure. So I, on behalf of people from my neck of the woods, mahalo for the work on this.
Thank you. Any other comments? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair for the vote. Passing with amendments, Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, are there any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, your measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure, SB 2997, relating to public utilities. This is the wildfire mitigation plan bill. The recommendation on this measure is to pass with amendments. Let me see here. There are some technical, non-substantive amendments. And the proposal is to amend the bill to keep the plan only and remove the provisions relating to liability. So to be clear, essentially we're going to amend Section 2 so that it reads that the changes to Hawaii Revised Statutes, Chapter 269, require that each electric utility have a risk-based wildfire protection plan, which shall be filed with and approved by the PUC. And I think we will also, oh no, that one will take effect upon approval. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair also votes aye. Senator McKelvey?
Yes.
Senator Richards?
Aye.
Senator Awa?
Aye.
Measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The last measure on this 9:35 a.m. agenda is SB 3344 relating to wildfires. This is the Wildfire Relief Fund bill. The recommendation is to amend the bill to require that an electric utility that is subject to liability proceedings or insolvency claims may only participate in the fund if it provides a plan to resolve the claims that is approved by the PUC. The plan must include essentially the same conditions that we inserted into the securitization bill. Any discussion? On that one, we'll also, I believe we will defect the effective date on this measure, and there are some technical non-substantive amendments, so July 1, 2040. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, any reservations, objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay, and then we have one more voting agenda, and then we'll get back to business. So just bear with us real quick. Okay, so I'm gonna adjourn that 9:35 a.m. agenda, and we will open our 10 a.m. decision-making agenda to consider SB 2874 relating to taxation. This is the pet credit. The recommendation on this measure is to pass with amendments. We'll defect the effective date to July 1, 2040, and we will adopt the DOE tax amendments around implementation. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 3345 relating to the estate tax. We didn't have enough time to have a discussion on this measure. There were some questions posed by the Tax Foundation that I would like to explore further. But I do, noting the deadline and that there's a long way to go, I think we should pass this measure out. With amendments, we will defect the effective date to July 1, 2040, so that we can keep it moving and continue to have those discussions. And we will adopt the Department of Taxation implementation amendments. Any discussion? Vice Chair.
I believe that in further discussions with the Tax Foundation, I believe they noted that their testimony needed to be corrected. So I'm hopeful that the corrected testimony can address some of your concerns.
Yes, thank you. Any other discussion?
Mr. Chair, I want to thank you for this and all the other bills that you're passing today. They really have made my day a whole lot better than it looked yesterday, so thank you.
Yeah, Chair, quick comment.
I welcome free lunch.
You got it.
After the deadline.
I got a Lele mud pie for you. How's that?
I want to thank you for this on estate taxes, too, especially for the family businesses, because that's what makes up Hawaii and keeping those family businesses family.
Yeah. Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, of the CPN members present, are there any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The final measure on this agenda is a recommit on a short form measure. The language has been, the proposed language on the measure was posted on the notice and can be viewed for all the members. So the recommendation on this measure, SB 524, is to insert the proposed substantive provisions of the Senate Draft 1, pass with amendments, and recommit the bill back to CPN so that it can be formally heard. Any discussion? Oh, we'll also be inserting another preamble so we can explain what we're doing with the bill. And on that note, passing with amendments, Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, are there any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. So we will adjourn that 10 a.m. agenda and we will reconvene our 9:30 and take up testimony. Thank you all very much for watching us do all the stuff we got to do. Let me see. Next we have Chris Hikita in opposition testifying for Kazdan Turner Thompson Booth LLC. Good morning.
Good morning. Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee, thank you for having me. My name is Chris Hikita. I am a attorney, a partner at the law firm Kazdan Turner Thompson Booth. We do construction defect law. We represent property owners, including homeowners and associations in construction defect cases. So we deal with the Contractor Repair Act on a daily basis. We strongly oppose SB 2606. The reason being that 2606 was effectively killed the ability for homeowners to bring class action in construction defect cases. Our firm currently represents over 5,500 homes in certified class actions with corroded foundational systems due to defective construction. And we've also represented over 4,000 homeowners in class actions involving the same issues where we successfully were able to get a majority of those homes repaired through hard-fought litigation. The foundation system is a life safety system hidden in the walls, and defects only become apparent when there's a hurricane or other dangerous weather event. And this win was only possible through the use of class actions. Without the class action mechanism, litigation would be too costly for homeowners to bring their own claims. Also, because of these defects are hidden in the walls, typical homeowners would not know that these defects exist without a class action that represents their interests. So what does this bill mean in practice? If this bill were to pass, no one would be able to file a class action lawsuit without all class members first going through the Contractor Repair Act. However, homeowners would likely not know that these hidden defects exist without first having a certified class. This would essentially kill the ability for knowledgeable homeowners to bring class actions on behalf of homeowners who have no knowledge of the defects. This would also make bringing class claims extremely costly and time-consuming. Essentially, every single home would be subject to an individualized process requiring inspection and testing, creating exponential costs on homeowners and postponing the process indefinitely. I therefore strongly urge this committee to protect the rights of the individual homeowners and to recover for construction
Thank you.
defects. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have BIA Hawaii in support.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Sarah Love. I'm the immediate past president of the Building Industry Association Hawaii. I'm also a licensed attorney in Hawaii, representing both plaintiffs and defendants in construction law and litigation cases. We'll stand on the testimony that was submitted. Also like to add, based upon the other testimony submitted, that it's a misconception that the proposed legislation creates a new requirement that owners need to retain experts to comply with the Contractor Repair Act. Rather, the proposed legislation clarifies and strengthens what is already in the statute to avoid non-compliance by homeowners. The proposed legislation aims to ensure that enough information is provided so that there is a much clearer guide and timeline on what should be done by who and when. It is not intended to create a requirement that an expert be retained. The more information the industry professional has about an alleged claim, the better opportunity the industry professional has to make a reasonable offer to repair and settlement. This is also helpful in guarding against situations where claims are being asserted prior to a statute of repose just to preserve where there is no evidence of actual issues. I understand that some plaintiffs' law firms have brought up concerns regarding language that all class members must comply with the Contractor Repair Act. Again, this is not a new requirement. This language is being requested to mirror how the courts are currently interpreting the interaction between class actions in compliance with the Contractor Repair Act, including the class actions that the two attorneys today are here representing homeowners on now. What is important is that all class members must comply in order to ensure that the industry professionals are being given a fair opportunity to inspect and repair. I urge you to support and pass this legislation. I'm available for any further questions.
Thank you very much. I'd just like to note for all the members, I'm not scolding anybody, but we have 40 minutes left. We need to vote out on all these measures. I would respectfully request you not read word for word your testimony, but again, you can use your 2 minutes. Let me see. For Ashford and Riston, we have Benjamin Kudo in support.
Good morning. Both bills 2606 and 2607 are the Hawaii building industry's response to the recent wave of class action lawsuits brought primarily by mainland based law firms against our local builders, contractors, suppliers of construction materials in Hawaii. Chapter 672E, or the Contractor Repair Act, is well-meaning and intended, as it provides and attempts to provide a means to resolve homeowner and builder disputes with regard to construction defects. However, Chapter 672E does not provide for a level playing field and allows for lawsuits such as these class action lawsuits to be waged on vague claims with insufficient information regarding the nature and magnitude of the construction defects. As a lawyer born and raised in Hawaii, I have always tried in my work to be sensitive to the impact that my work has upon the local community. Both Senate Bill 2606 and 2607 are the building industry bills which seek to bring a balance to the rights of the homeowners and those of our Hawaii builders. I respectfully offer an additional amendment to Senate Bill 2606, Section 1B. That section right now reads as though it's mandatory for the claimant in the notice of intent or to file a claim to have an expert study or report. I would like to propose that that particular provision be deemed permissive. In other words, in that B section on the fourth line before the word expert generated, the phrase, the following information, if available to the claimant, expert generated, et cetera, et cetera. So it's permissive if you have that available.
Thank you very much. If you could provide that in writing, that would be,
Could I
yeah,
get it?
maybe if you can
Okay,
deliver it
I'll
to
give
the
it to
clerk.
you. Thank you.
Thank you. Nadine Nagano in opposition. Good morning.
Hi. Nadine Nagano's my wife. She's not feeling well, so I am her replacement and first alternate.
If you could just identify yourself.
Okay,
You
my
don't
name
look
is
like a
Keith.
Nadine to
Yeah,
me.
my name is Keith Nagano.
morning.
I also, wait, let me, okay. Senator Jared Keo Kalole, Senator Carol Fukunaga, and Senator Herbert Richards III. I hope I didn't screw up your name.
You did great, thank
you. Okay, I'm a current homeowner. I live in Lahiki in Mehana, in Kapolei. The house was built by D.R. Horton. The issue is, I'm not sure what the number is, 2606 or 07, but this situation is like, it's not a fair situation. It's either lose, if we lose the case, we lose. Okay, that's fine. If we win the case, we lose because we have to pay for the attorney fees. And the attorney fees might cost more than what the project is. So that's not really fair to me. And also, I have another question. Well, anyway, this picture here is my house, but I'm sure you have it in writing. This one.
Yeah, I think we have it.
Yeah, that one here. That's looking kind of bad. Well, anyway, the question I have hurricane insurance. Now, in case my house topples over, the insurance company is going to send an inspector. He's going to check it out. And if they say your anchor bolts are not sufficient, go see D.R. Horton. So I'm stuck in the middle again. So now what? You know what I'm saying? So I just wanted to be fair. Okay, thank you. I oppose the bill, two of them. And also, happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for your testimony. Next, we have Michael Santelena in support. Good morning.
Michael Santelena, I'm a homeowner. And I guess in 2010, our association was approached by a group of attorneys, said they had a way for the association to make some money. The pitch was they'd hire a construction defect team, go after the developer's insurance and litigation. The insurance would want to settle, you get to defer your maintenance during the litigation, and maintenance fees wouldn't have to be raised. If all goes well, you'd receive an award, the attorneys would take their cut in the end, and you can use that money for whatever you want. You didn't even have to do the repairs. 9 years later, we did receive an award for 1/20th of what we were asking. But the maintenance in the common areas now had an exponential cost to repair. And during litigation, financing, limited buyers, and the owners couldn't refinance. Property values stayed flat. And you give an association a large sum of money with no oversight, watch the corruption begin. My analysis as a general contractor from the Big Island for the past 26 years, as I read the construction defect report, was that you could tell it was a witch hunt. It was intended to scare the layperson. There was no crisis pending. There were no bodies. These are mostly maintenance issues blown out of proportion, and litigation could have been avoided. It's not something that the board wanted to hear. To my surprise, this was a common model, the same cast of characters following the same script with other associations. But in our case, the developer offered to fix the construction defects. We were told by our attorney, you don't want the fix, you want the money. There's something wrong with the business judgment rule when a board can hire a professional to tell them what they want to hear. All in all, there was a simple solution to all of this, to avoid litigation, let everyone fix their own mistakes. That's it, please.
Thank you very much. Tiffany Gardner, in support. Do we have Tiffany online?
Not present on Zoom, Chair.
Okay, and I think that's everyone who was on time. We have late testimony from the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters in support.
We just want to stand in our support. Thank you.
Thank you for standing on your testimony. Is there anyone else who would like to testify on this measure? Please. Good morning.
Hi, my name is Denise Santalina, Michael's wife, and we lived through the whole process of our association going after the developer. And what we saw was exactly what he said, where prices were stagnant, our home values did not go up. But through the process, I think, with SB 2606 and SB 2607, requiring the association to detail what the defects are, I believe is extremely important, because when you bring in the forensics, they're gonna go after everything. And at the end of the day, you get, we got a 20th of what we actually claimed for. And the repairs that were filed under the lawsuit were never done. This is 13 years later. All the repairs that we claimed that were defects were never done. And when they did the repair or the investigative part, they found certain things. But now 13 years later, when they open it all up, the response is that, oh, it's not as bad as we thought. So at the end of the day, we still have $2 million left in accounts that we don't need to fix these homes. So I think as a consumer, we weren't protected. We went through this lawsuit for really nothing, because those repairs could have been addressed through just general maintenance. We didn't really need to go through that lawsuit, and that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you for testifying. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Okay, members, any questions on this measure? All right, then we'll move to the next measure, which is I guess you can say companion measure, SB 2607, relating to construction. This measure revises the construction defect claims process. Oh, also, just to note, on the prior measure, there were 46 individuals who submitted testimony in support, 24 who submitted testimony in opposition, and 1 with comments. 2607, first up, Contractors License Board with comments. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Keoho Kalole. This is Candice Ito, Executive Officer for the Contractors License Board. We stand on our written testimony with comments that the board has concerns that the homeowners' rates may not be protected.
Thank you very much. BIA Hawaii in support. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair Sarah Love, immediate past president of the Building Association of Hawaii, practicing attorney in Hawaii. We'll stand on our testimony. I just want to add a couple of points just to make sure that the members of the committee are clear on the proposed language. If a homeowner rejects an offer that's unreasonable by a contractor, this doesn't in any way affect the current rights that they have today. It's only when a homeowner rejects a reasonable proposal to repair or a settlement offer where the limitations on damages and attorney's fees would come into play. And also with respect to comments on the unreasonableness, I just wanted everybody to know reasonableness is a common term used in the law, in statutes to measure, to allow a trier of fact to measure what to award a judge or a jury. Again, we urge you to pass this legislation. I'm available for any further comments.
Thank you very much. DR Horton in support.
Tracy Tanaki with D.R. Horton, we stand on our written testimony. Thank you.
Thank you for standing on your testimony. Hawaii Credit Union League in support. Thank you. PRP in support. Dennis Lombardi in support. Holomua Collaborative in support. Graham Lipsmith in opposition. Good morning.
I'll be brief. Thank you for the opportunity to oppose SB 2607. We stand on our written submission. I do want to add that I think the problem that I see in this provision is it seems to create more litigation. The purpose of the Contractor Repair Act is to streamline the process, make things simpler, make it easy for people to do, and make it less expensive on litigation costs. The problem with SB 2607 is that first, it incentivizes builders to lowball homeowners by having this language that they shall take the offer that the builder makes in the Contractor Repair Act process. That's just, I've never seen a statute where someone is deprived of the freedom of choice about whether or not they should take an offer or not, or whether they think it's sufficient or not. Second, the language about unreasonable rejections of offers or inspections, that's just going to create litigation. Who's going to be there to determine what was unreasonable or not? It's the court. So if Contractor Repair Act is to try to prevent cases from going into court, I don't think it should then have provisions in it that will require courts to interpret them to make sure that homeowners were acting in good faith on their offers. Finally, the provisions seek to shift attorney's fees and cap damages. What they're doing is essentially taking all the litigation costs and putting them on the homeowners. Some of these companies are multi-billion-dollar companies based in the mainland who are building homes here. I think they have the resources to try to defend these cases. They also have the resources to put in safe products in their homes. But unfortunately, this provision, if it's adopted, will not encourage or incentivize any of that. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Chris Ikeda in opposition.
Thank you. I stand on my written testimony, just a few points. I think the main problem with this bill is that it puts unilateral pressure on homeowners to accept, both through the use of attorney's fees, the threat of attorney's fees, and limited recovery. It's important to note that this is unilateral. It says that if a homeowner is unreasonably rejects the claim, that they could be forced to be faced with attorney's fees or limited recovery. But it doesn't say that, if a builder or contractor unreasonably fails to provide an offer or or provides an unreasonable offer, that homeowners would be given the same, attorney's fees or, attorney's fees. The other issue is, this basically, what this does is it allows for contractors to put a gun to the head when they make mediation offers through this process. In these types of processes, both parties have the ability to settle and also have the option to settle. But what this does is it pressures one party into accepting an offer that could be a lowball offer or a problem. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Benjamin Kudo in support. Thank you for standing on your testimony. Mr. Nagano. If you'd like to stand on your comments in opposition, you can. So noted. Okay, you did good. Yeah, thank you. No, you're good. I appreciate you guys for coming in person. Kun Feng in opposition. Good morning. Please correct the record if I got that wrong.
Perfect. Good morning, chairs and vice chairs. I strongly oppose this SB 2607 because I'm the homeowner of these units. I've been suffering these sewer leaking and the other water backup issues for years. So here are the two reasons why I strongly oppose. First one, it's totally unfair that the developer offer to homeowners. It has to be reached by two parties, not only one-way road offered by developer. It's totally unfair because what if they offer us really low? It's totally unreasonable because the pipe issue is huge. They may cost a lot of money to fix. That's unfair. The second one is homeowner has to pay the attorney fee even though the developer is reliable on this construction defects, I feel like it's totally unfair because we homeowner has been suffer these issues for years, and the developer caused all these issues. They are admit that they are reliable for this. So, and I have a lot of pictures to prove. And already this is a lawsuit between our homeowners and this developer. So that's the main reasons I totally strongly oppose with this new proposed amendments. So, and I'm speaking for myself and all the homeowners. So strongly opposed. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let's see. Okay, late testimony from the Hawaii Regional Council of Carpenters in support.
Stand on our written testimony.
Thank you for standing on your testimony. And Richard Manning in opposition. Good morning.
Morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. Richard Manning, I am a unit owner at Kapi'olani Residence, and I'm in opposition of Senate Bill 2607. And you already have my testimony, so I'll try to focus on some things I wasn't able to include. One thing I want to talk about that gets overlooked a lot is I think it's the strain that these types of things can put on you emotionally. The constant fear of coming home to a flooded house, the disruptions of always having to allow people to access your unit to address issues, worrying about all kind of problems that could come up in the future. These are things that have a big impact on your mental state. And we're in a constant state of high stress. And one of the most frustrating things about the situation was that every time we tried to report an issue, the blame always came back to us. It's like, it's our unit, our responsibility. And it took a few years and a lot of complaints for them to finally admit, yeah, there was actually something wrong. So, the worst feeling is when you feel helpless and you feel like nobody really cares. And that's how my family and I felt for a long time until steps were finally taken to address the issues, at least to try to address the issues. So the changes that I'm hearing bring up, they bring up these same feelings that I've been feeling for a long time, which is like helplessness and despair. And it feels like, to me, these aren't the kind of things that people should be feeling, especially here in Hawaii, knowing the difficulties of already, trying to be a homeowner here. It's challenging. And I just hope that, you can take all of the examples I've given today and in my testimony and take that into consideration when you're making your decision. And I do truly appreciate your time, and I want to thank you for allowing me to share my experiences. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. My name is Mike Carroll. I'm a construction attorney in Hawaii. I've been practicing construction law for about 20 years. I represented homeowners, developers, and contractors. I am in strong support of this measure, as I do believe it would encourage early resolution of claims and it does not impinge on homeowners' rights to bring claims. I wanted to comment on a few of the comments made at the earlier testimony. One of the objections was the phrase "shall." That issue was addressed in the House bill to modify that to the term "may." I do believe that would be appropriate here as well. There was also a lot of testimony there was some testimony that this would encourage litigation. I strongly disagree that that is the case. What this measure would actually do is it would encourage contractors and developers to give a really strong offer as part of the negotiation process. And in conjunction with the other bill, they would have detailed information to do that. And this would help facilitate an early resolution, whereas the current process does not allow for sufficient detail, nor does it allow the ability for contractors to actually have a meaningful discussion at this phrase, which is the purpose of the act. So I strongly support this measure and I hope that it gets adopted. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Okay. Did you submit written testimony?
I did not.
Okay, so if you can check in with our clerk and our staff attorney, I just want to make sure that we get your proposals recorded appropriately.
Will do. Thank you.
Members, any questions? Okay, anyone? Everybody pump faked on me all at once, all three of you. Okay, I have a question. I think we'll do Mr. Kudo. Yeah. Because a number of you tried to address the, I can't remember if it was you. Well, anyway, multiple lawyers tried to address Mr. Lipsmith's testimony and around this notion of unreasonableness. And I got to tell you, it does sound like we're asking for more litigation by putting a standard in like that. Can you respond to that? Because that was sort of whichever lawyer
I think he can do it
want to
better
explain.
than I
I mean, it sounds like he has a point when you have a standard that's undefined in a bill like this.
So the term reasonableness in terms of, it's common in legislation. For example, you have the phrase reasonableness in the assumption statute. You have the phrase reasonableness in the fee shifting statute under the condo statute 514B. So what it does
514B is not the greatest example of a peacemaking chapter of the code.
You could use multiple other statutes, but the term reasonableness is common in legislation, and it's a word of art in litigation in courts. And what it does is it gives the court, in my view, it gives the court flexibility to evaluate claims and issues, and it doesn't set sort of a black and white rule. So, for example, if a contractor were to make an unreasonable offer, it would be for the court to decide. Just as it is in any litigation, the court would ultimately decide the various issues. For example, attorney's fees. The standard in Hawaii for attorney's fees on the award of attorney's fees is you're entitled to reasonable attorney's fees. And the court decides and evaluates what is reasonable under the circumstances. So it doesn't increase litigation. It's a step that makes the process more meaningful.
You see, I guess, and we're a little bit out of scope here because the Judiciary Committee does take this measure up if we pass it out. So I don't want to get too deep into this, but it does seem a little counterproductive in these measures, they appear to be intended to provide black letter guidelines in order to drive outcomes that would take place out of court. And this is intentionally inserting a legal term of art that lawyers can argue over.
Yeah, but I think the point, respectfully, it's a good question, but I think the point is to give some flexibility for the court to weigh it and look at the circumstances of each individual.
But that's sort of the misnomer, is I thought it seems like the objective of this measure is to take it out of the court's discretion, to foster clear, bright lines so that people can work it out without having to go to court.
Yeah, but I think the point is that in the upfront process, yes, there's a requirement that you have to provide the detail in connection with your notice, and the contractor can then make an offer. I think if you were to make it sort of a stricter interpretation that just says if the offer is better or worse, that would be. I think that would be less favorable for a homeowner. I think the way inserting the word reasonable, I think it adds additional protection to the homeowner because there is some flexibility that the court can weigh. If you were to take out the word reasonable, I think you'd make more of a bright line rule. But it does, I think with the phrase reasonable, you're adding a little more protection for the homeowner with that phrase. Because you could theoretically take out the word reasonable and it would be, say, if you offered $10 and you only recovered $5, then it would be automatic and the other party would be entitled to attorney's fees. But or if you offered $9 and the person recovered $10, there would be some discretion for the court. And I think what we're doing is we're allowing for some discretion of the court, and I think that protects both parties.
Vice Chair.
You know, in trying to set some guidelines, the Contractors Licensing Board did express some concerns on this measure, and one of the things that the department is proposing is perhaps a neutral third party, such as a mediator or arbitrator, could resolve the matter of an unreasonable rejection and fair compensation. Has your, I guess, organization or others explored that alternative? Because the testimony from the department seems to say that we're moving away from what seemed to have been intended to be a relatively straightforward process.
I don't think it necessarily requires a separate arbitration process. And what we're trying to do is we're not trying to make the process more complicated than it has to be. So right now, the system is the contractor, or excuse me, the homeowner provides a notice, and there's very limited language in the statute as to what's required. It says it provides information and any reports, any testing that was done. And what we're not trying to rewrite the entire legislation and create a new structure where there would be a third-party arbitration or a separate process, or a separate judicial process. What it does is it sort of adds clarity and strength to the existing system that's in place. I don't know if I answered your question, but.
Well, I guess the department did raise similar concerns as the chair was raising as to the definition or how best to evaluate what's unreasonable and what, the circumstances are. So in terms of the way the process is designed in this measure, it seems as though maybe there's a middle ground that has not really been explored, and we're just trying to determine, where that middle ground might be. So,
Okay,
thank you.
That makes sense. Thank you.
Just real quick before you slide on out. Thanks for being here. Just to follow up on that, you have a term of reasonableness which isn't defined. I'm sorry, it is going to spawn a lot of litigation because one person's reasonableness is another person's unreasonableness, depending on your perspective, right? But shouldn't there be some attempt to try to tie this to some kind of a policy standard? Like, for instance, reasonableness does have a definition or an understanding in these different professions, right? So do you think that the committee should try to look at putting some kind of parameter, either tying it to the reasonableness to the professional standards or something to that level?
I think that's a good suggestion. It could be reasonableness in terms of industry standards. It could be reasonableness in, I think that could be, that is a good suggestion, and that would be workable.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, we'll move on. Thank you very much.
Oh, Chair, can I just ask?
Sorry,
real quickly?
the question period is over, and we do need to move on. Yeah, thank you. The next measure is SB 2631 relating to arrest photographs. This measure prohibits commercial website operators from publishing mugshots, and it also establishes exceptions. I keep forgetting. In total, because I'm not going to read all the names, there were 39 individuals and organizations that submitted testimony in support of SB 2607. There were 25 that submitted testimony in opposition and 1 with comments. So now we'll move on to SB 2631. First up, we have we have 2 individuals who submitted written testimony, both in support. Is there anyone in the room who would like to testify on this measure? If this is your first time at the legislature, thank you very much for coming and testifying. Yeah. Okay, since there's no one to question, we'll move to the last measure, SB 2664. This measure is relating to earned wage access. It amends the law governing interest and usury by defining debt to include any amount that a consumer agrees to pay under certain conditions, makes some changes around the Truth in Lending Act and annual percentage rates and finance charges. First up online, we have the Division of Financial Institutions of the DCCA. Good morning. With comments.
My name is Iris Ikeda. I'm from DCCA, the Bank Commissioner. So we wanted to provide some comments on this letter or this proposal regarding the definition of finance charge, which is different from the Truth in Lending's definitions on how APR is calculated. The other thing we wanted to do was to provide some information about earned wage access products. It's usually referred to consumers as instant pay or on-demand pay. And, there are 2 different types of these earned wage access products. One is employee direct, and the other one is employer direct. So, and there are, we believe that there is less concern about employer direct, but really this is a policy call for the legislature to determine whether it's a credit or loan or cash advances. So we are here to answer any questions and if you wanted to propose a law for earned wage access, we'll be happy to work with you.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Ryan Naples of Daily Pay in opposition. Good morning.
Good morning. Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, I'm Ryan Naples from Daily Pay in opposition to the bill. You have our written testimony, but I'd like to briefly highlight a couple of points. So earned wage access exists because 30 years ago, if an employee needed like a couple $100 in between paydays, the employer would just like open the cash register. In places like large hotels and places like Target, they were trying to do that and with like a notebook, and it just wasn't working. So earned wage access is the tech solution for what used to happen in an informal way. Our industry really exists because Walmart and Target were not able to let their general managers do this with a notebook next to the cash register. Our company, Daily Pay, is the largest in the country. We sign contracts with employers. We integrate with payroll and time and attendance. And our system is entirely voluntary for everyone, and it updates 4 times a day. So employees can just see how much they make net pay. They're able to, if they choose to, download this. They're able to access their wages, but they have to earn them first. So there's no ability to access anything in advance. The average amount people access is $158 in the state of Hawaii. There's less than a third of people use us more than once a month, and the average cost is either no charge if you can wait a day, like the way Venmo operates, or it's $3 or $3.50 for instant access. Again, the way like Venmo allows people to cash out. Our average fees per month the people are paying around $14. And again, like that's less than a third of people are paying that on our platform. So thank you for your time, and I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you very much. Next, we have the American FinTech Council, Ian Maloney, in opposition.
Hi, Chair. I'm having a bit of an issue with my camera, unfortunately, but I will, there we go.
Okay, please
Thank
proceed.
you.
We'll give you the 10 seconds.
Yep, thank you, Chair. And thank you, Vice Chair and members of the committee. You have our written testimony, so I'm happy to just provide some additional comments in response to some of the other testimony that was provided. So around EWA, I think it's important to understand that our position in opposition to this bill is because we believe that EWA is not a loan nor a credit product. And it's unlike a loan because EWA services, they don't perform credit checks or inquiries. They do not assess fees based on access to creditworthiness or assess based on creditworthiness. They don't charge fees in installment, nor do they charge interest or late fees, or do they report the information that they collect to any credit bureaus. Lastly, they don't conduct any collection activities, and there is no recourse against individuals. So I think for all those reasons, it is important for those that may try to say it's a loan, it's important to point those aspects out and recognize that it is not a loan. And within my testimony, I had noted that the American FinTech Council does have a specific set of standards, which all of our member companies must adhere to. And I think that really is important for the fact that responsible EWA providers have to have a no-cost option available for consumers. They have all committed to sharing data with the appropriate federal regulatory authorities and would update that accordingly. They make sure that they're providing clear and conspicuous, very transparent, They make sure that they provide clear and conspicuous, transparent disclosures to any individuals that are using their services, and there's the ability to cancel anytime. So thank you for your consideration.
Thank you.
Happy to answer any questions.
Next, we have in support, Monica Burks of the Center for Responsible Lending and National Consumer Law. Good morning.
Good afternoon.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity to speak. My name is Monica Bruce with the Center for Responsible Lending, and I'm here in support of SB 2664. I just want to mention that the main thrust of this bill, which is so vital that it passes, is that these products are loans, and the CFPB affirmed in December of 2023 that earned wage access is the latest iteration in payday lending. And as a result, these products should be subject to the same credit laws that other lenders are responsible to comply with. And I'm here to answer any questions that members may have about how these products work. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you for taking less than the entire full 2 minutes, and thank you for not reading. We have pre-session, a very important pre-session meeting at 11:15. I would like to conclude this business and vote out the measures on this agenda before that. I'm sorry that you're at the very end of the agenda. We do have your written testimony, so if you could please be brief with your remarks. We do have several other people who signed up to testify online. I would very much appreciate it. So next we have Pay Active, Molly Jones in opposition.
Hi there, I'll be brief. Molly Jones. Thank you, Chair and honorable members of the committee. Respectfully, we oppose this bill. There are ways to regulate earned wage access that we are in strong support of, such as the bill that passed out of Nevada and was endorsed by the Council of State Governments. In Hawaii, a payday loan costs a worker $138 in fees for a $500 loan, and that's compared to a maximum of $349 for earned wage access. It's a responsible alternative to payday lending. We're open to continuing conversations and appreciate your time on this issue. Thank you.
Thank you very much. The Innovative Payments Association, Brian Tate in opposition.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman, Vice Chair, and members of the committee. Thank you for this opportunity to testify today. You have my testimony, so I will be brief as well. I would like to reiterate our testimony, which clearly states that EWA is not a loan. It is designed to help people access the money they've already earned, and that the people who have earned those wages have a property right in those wages, and they should not be converted to something else such as credit, simply because they are accessing those funds before the arbitrary pay date set by their employer. The IPA and our members stand firm in wanting to work with the members of the committee to develop a bill that will be beneficial to Hawaiians, as well as innovators in the industry, and allow us to serve them. I want to point out that Director Cordray himself in 2017 specifically carved out EWA from the payday rule, so it is not a loan. The 2020 advisory opinion that the CFPB published makes it clear that EWA functionally operates like an employer that pays its employees earlier than the scheduled payday. In essence, again, this is the employees' money, and I think we need to work together to develop ways to make sure that we can allow them to access that money, especially in times of need. So thank you for your time, and I look forward to your questions.
Thank you very much. Next we have Payroll Org, Alice Jacobson in opposition. Good morning.
Thank you. Yes, I'm Alice Jacobson with Payroll Org. We are a group that represents payroll professionals. And I just wanted to emphasize, you have our written testimony, but I wanted to emphasize how important it is to have these financial wellness tools available to employees. And when we put the restrictions on it, such as calling it credit and a loan, then we remove that availability from employees. So it doesn't really protect consumers when we do that. So thank you very much. And again, you have our written testimony.
Thank you very much. Next, we have the Chamber of Progress in opposition. Good morning.
Good morning, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee. I'll keep my remarks really short. Earned wage access is antithetical to the predatory cycle of debt like payday lending because it is fundamentally not debt at all. It is merely an early facilitation of transferring funds in direct reciprocity of having already performed labor. Users can tip if they want, but it's entirely voluntary. That's the opposite of a predatory practice. So those are my remarks.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Wage Stream, Mr. Lofton in opposition. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you. And I'll keep this brief. We oppose the bill and we stand with our written testimony. Employer integrated EWA is exceptionally different from direct to consumer.
And earned wage access services are an excellent financial tool for employees, and they're also a great benefit for employers to offer their employees. Earned wage access should not be considered credit or a loan because the earned wage access is based on wages that have already been earned, and they do not have any of the same characteristics of a loan or credit. So thank you very much for your time. We stand on our written testimony.
Thank you very much for that. We have 4 other organizations that submitted testimony, 1 in support and 3 in opposition. Is there anyone else who would like to testify? Okay, let's just, can we make sure that we have you on the record because I don't see you on the list, but thank you. Is there anyone else? Okay, members, questions? Okay, I have a question for the Division of Financial Institutions. Is Iris still on?
I'm still on, but I can't access
But you don't want to
my
answer
camera.
it. Your video.
Yeah.
Okay,
Oh,
it doesn't seem clear in your testimony, so it looks like from the testifiers, there is a dispute over whether this mechanism is a loan or not. And from your testimony, it's not clear whether we have, whether the DCCA has developed a position on that yet. Am I reading this wrong, or is this still something that's being explored?
So we think that it's a policy call. There are some states that consider this a loan. There are some states that think of this as cash advances. So, you know, we could go either way. There is in my mind a big difference between the employer direct, which is much more beneficial to consumers, versus the direct to employees, which could have some fees that folks are kind of concerned about.
Yeah, I saw that and appreciate that. Are there other jurisdictions that have taken competing policy positions on that distinction?
Yes. So the states of Nevada and Missouri recently passed legislation last year and identified these earned wage access programs as cash advance. Montana Attorney General issued an opinion that some earned wage access products are not loans, and those were really the direct by the employer direct ones. And then Connecticut and California last year passed legislation that considered these earned wage access products as a loan.
Regardless of distinction?
Right.
Okay. Okay.
So, I
Members,
mean,
any other? Thank you.
there is a difference between the two.
Right. Your testimony is helpful, except that it does not actually take a position, which I guess there's a clear debate underway as to what the national standard or best practice should be. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, I'd like to recess for decision making. Okay, we're coming back in for decision making on our 9:30 a.m. agenda. The first measure is SB 2020 relating to deceptive trade practices. Recommendation on this measure is to pass this out with amendments. We will adopt the amendments requested from charter because it does seem like they are duplicative rules and they're already abiding by the federal government rules. There are some technical, non-substantive amendments and will defect the effective date on this measure just to be safe to July 1, 2040. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, Vice Chair passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the CPN members present, are there any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 2103 relating to agriculture. This is the criminal offense of false labeling of Hawaii-grown coffee. The recommendation is to pass with amendments. We will blank out the appropriation amount, but note the original amount in the committee report. Defect the effective date to July 1, 2040, and make technical, non-substantive amendments. Any discussion? Seeing none, passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 2109. This is the cigar bill. As noted in the questions, I would like to keep this measure moving. So the recommendation is to pass with amendments. We will adopt the proposed amendments from the Cigar Association regarding the definition. That there's a definition provision and the date. We'll also defect the effective date, implementation. We'll defect the effective date of the measure to July 1, 2040 to keep it going. Any discussion?
Go ahead.
We'll go Vice Chair.
Sorry, on this one, I believe that the products are still available for sale in, I guess, locally. So I would kind of join with a lot of the Department of Health and other organizations that are opposing this measure. Thank you.
So noted. Senator McKelvey?
Yeah, I'm kind of with your vice chair on this measure. If it's, with all due respect, Chair, I think I'm not going to have to decline in supporting this one right now.
Okay, so noted. There are no other discussion, members who want to discuss? Okay.
Okay,
All right, yeah, SB 2109 passing with amendments. Chair votes aye.
Thank you. Vice Chair votes no. Senator McKelvey? No. Senator Richards?
With reservations?
Okay, Senator Awa?
Aye.
Okay, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 2127. This is the landlord-tenant code measure around criminal background checks and credit reports. The recommendation is to pass with amendments. We will adopt the Office of Consumer Protection amendments, which adds language to require landlords and their agents to accept reusable tenant screening reports to alleviate the concerns about a certified copy and all of that. And we will remove provisions requiring the DCCA to certify and do rules and all of that. And we'll defect the effective date on this measure to keep it moving. July 1, 2040. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure, SB 2454. There were some federal issues with this bill, but also there was no supportive testimony, so we're going to defer. SB 2606. The recommendation on this measure is to pass with amendments. We will adopt the amendment offered at the table by Mr. Kudo. Let me see. Which changes from, it just makes, it just provides some clarity on expert-generated reports if available. There are also some technical non-substantive amendments, and we will defect the effective date on this measure to July 1, 2040. Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure, SB 2607. The recommendation on this measure is to pass with amendments. We will keep the 30-day language in section 1C. It was proposed to take it down to 14 days. Let me see. We will change the mandatory language to permissive on page 1, line 14. which was offered at the table. Page 4, line 14, I'm sorry. This is section 1 of the measure. There are also some technical non-substantive amendments. We will defect the effective date of this measure to July 1, 2040, and we will note in the committee report the committee's concerns about the use of a legal term of art to try and alleviate the situation in this measure, and ask that the next committee respectfully take up that issue. Any discussion? Senator McKelvey.
Thank you for putting that in a committee report. I think we've got to try to at least try and find some policy rail, if you will, to the term reasonableness. Or I think your concerns of litigation being spawned out of this is quite real. Thanks.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing with amendments, chair votes aye.
Thank you. Of the members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. The next measure is SB 2631, relating to arrest photographs. Yeah, everybody likes this one. Pass as is.
I may have a potential comment.
Any discussion? Okay, seeing none, passing unamended. Chair votes aye.
Okay, of the members present, any voting with reservations or objections? Hearing none, measure is adopted.
Thank you very much. On the last measure, SB 2664, the recommendation on this measure is to defer. It's a worthy discussion that is just not ready for a change in the law. And on that note, thank you very much for your patience and your time. Members, we have one more vote this afternoon with the Ag Committee. And on that note, we're adjourned. Thank you.